I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even blink. I just stood in the doorway and listened to her explain how her graduation party had already happened, how everyone who mattered had already been there. Everyone except her husband. I remember the exact second the lie settled between us. It didn't shatter like glass. It dropped like a stone, heavy, deliberate, built to sink. She kept smiling while she said it. I kept smiling while I absorbed the truth. When we first met, she was pure fire and focus, books under one arm, ambition under the other. She told me she wanted someone who understood her drive, someone who truly believed in her. I did more than she ever realized. I worked nights so she could study. I cooked when she came home with trembling hands from mock trials. I tightened every bolt around us, thinking I was building a home. I didn't see I was only handing her leverage. She loved how dependable I was. People like her always do, until dependability gets in the way. It started with silence, tiny gaps where her stories stopped lining up. A study group that never existed. A cancelled class on a day I later learned she was definitely on campus. Then the messages, names I didn't know, conversations that ended the instant I walked into the room, the way she locked her phone and, slowly, locked me out of her life. I never accused her. I don't do anything rash. I just watched, took notes, let her believe her performance was perfect. The proof arrived gently at first, then all at once. A restaurant receipt for a dinner I wasn't invited to, a photo where she stood a little too close to a man I'd never met. And finally the party, the one she didn't want me at because it wasn't about celebrating her graduation. It was about celebrating how far she'd already drifted. I didn't fall apart. I planned. I remembered every joint account in my name, every subscription tied to my card, every password she never bothered to memorize because she assumed I'd always be there to fix it. Her independence was theater. Her security was me. So I began the exit. She never expected a quiet visit to my lawyer, same field she claimed she wanted to enter. A silent restructuring of accounts. A cooling of my tone so gradual she didn't notice I'd emotionally checked out weeks before I moved a single box. She kept pretending I was clueless. I kept pretending she was clever enough to be dangerous. Both lies worked in my favor. The morning after her graduation party excuse, I used the spare keys she didn't know I still had and changed the locks. For days later, I moved every dollar out of the joint account. 6 days later, I removed her as an authorized user on every card she treated like free air. A week later, I updated the house deed, my name only. The marriage had never converted it to shared property. A small detail she never bothered to check. 10 days later, the separation papers were signed. 12 days later, her access to everything I'd built simply evaporated. But I didn't tell her. Not yet. Some truths hit harder when the lights go out first. She called me at noon, the exact time she usually called her new study partner. Her voice shook at last. Hey, something's wrong. My house key doesn't work, and the ATM says the account is restricted. Can you check? I let the silence stretch until I could hear her breathing speed up. Then, perfectly calm, I said, didn't I mention you're no longer on any of my accounts? A beat, not confusion, recognition. You did this, she whispered. No, I answered. You did. I just finished what you started. She tried to pivot, to soften, to fake remorse. But you don't negotiate with gravity. Where am I supposed to go? She finally cried. Back to the people you invited, I said. You know, the close ones. Then I hung up. For the first time in months, the floor felt solid beneath me again. People say revenge is fire. Mine wasn't. Mine was ice, clean, precise, and quiet enough to hear her whole illusion crack. I didn't break any laws. I never even raised my voice. I simply removed myself from her story and let her discover she was never the one holding the pen. She wanted a husband who wouldn't question her lies. She got one who made her answer for them. Sometimes justice isn't loud. Sometimes it's just the click of a new lock and the steady voice inside you saying, you don't owe explanations to someone who treated your loyalty like a subscription they could cancel whenever it got inconvenient. She taught me betrayal. I taught her consequences. We both graduated. Only one of us celebrated.